Hi everyone, here we are, day 3. So today we're going to look at the side muscles on your body. So we're actually going to start kneeling up. So there's a couple of things in kneeling that I want you to pay attention to. So firstly is that you could get about 2 of your fists between your knees. I really don't want you to stand the knees narrow. And then you also want to check that the shin bones behind you are pointing straight back, and that you're not turning the toes in towards each other or kicking a shin bone out to the side. Okay, once you have that, now in kneeling, can you find for me a middle ground with your pelvis? So in kneeling, can you find the tilt forward and the tuck back? Tilt forward, tuck back. So from the side, it kind of looks like this, tucking the tail or sticking the tail out, tilting it, and then tucking it under. So I'm going to look for a middle ground in that, where you don't want to be hugely tucked under, but you don't want to be overly tipped forward. We want to find a middle ground. And generally, this is referred to as neutral pelvis. Now, it's not really a thing. In walking, which is what I always refer to, the pelvis is in neutral for like a millisecond, but we use it as a reference ground for where you are. Are you too far forward of neutral, too far back of neutral? Can we find a balance between the two? So ideally you would want these 2 corner hip bones and the pubic bone to be close to lining up with each other. Now take your left arm, wrap it around your rib cage, quite low, down near the belly button, and bring your right arm up. I want you to start to side bend over to the left, but what I want you to notice is whether your rib cage is changing position. So if you're feeling your left side coming forward and your right side going back, you're putting a twist into your side bend. Can you fix that for me? Can you bring the right side forward, take the left side back? Now notice if in your side bend, might you have started to sit back? Can you really try to keep your pelvis on top of your knees? And then I want you to hang out into this side bend and take 2 or 3 breaths and see if your hand can feel the right side of your rib cage expanding and contracting every time you breathe. And then come up and out of it. Wrap the right arm around your rib cage, left arm comes up. Now take a side bend over, and again notice as one side of your rib cage become more prominent, do you need to pull that side back and bring the other side over? And then right where your hands are cupping the sides of your ribs, can you breathe into there? And already you might notice that one side is a little bit tighter than the other side. And then come up and out of it. Come back to your right arm, left arm wraps around. Inhale up tall, exhale side bend over, hold there. If you can feel the ribs have twisted, fix them. If you can feel you're sitting back a little, pull forward. Now take that left arm and hang it to the floor. Start to bring the left arm to the right arm, but I want you to turn the palm up and see if the fingertips can come and teach. They might be able to teach, touch even, and let the left arm come down. It would be dead handy, wouldn't it? And your left arm comes up and back down. Now the next time the left arm is up, hold there. Is your head in the middle of this picture frame, or is your head a little tipped over to one side, thrown forward, pushed back? What could you do to middle ground it? And then let the left arm come down. 2 more times, coming up, lowering down, coming up, lowering down. And this time come up, clasp your fingers, stretch just a little bit deeper and anchor your right knee into the floor and bring yourself up. Good job. All right, so now right arm wraps around your ribs, left arm comes up. Find your side bend first, and if your ribs are poking forward, draw them back. If you're sitting back, pull forward. Now let that right arm hang to the floor and start to bring it up so the palms face towards each other and let it come down. So do it a couple of times. It's always good to notice if there's one side that's just more tricky, And if there is, you want to just rein back a little bit. And the way to know is if your breath has gone kind of all raggedy and you couldn't have a comfortable conversation, you're in too deep too fast. Now this time stay there, clasp the hands together, and then fix your head. Not poked forward of the picture frame, not pushed back, not leaning off to one side, but in the middle. And now see if you can deepen into the side bend and then come up and out of it and let it release. Okay, from here, I want you to turn to lie on your front. So we did this on day one, the pull up away from the floor. So you're going to bring your elbows in close to your waist and bring your fists up underneath your shoulders. Now you remember how we didn't put the fists on the floor, we kept them up. So in this position, we were looking for that sad dog mode, your tail tucking down and under and your ribs lifting up. I want you to see if you can play into that a couple of times. Exhale, draw the tail down and under as the rib cage tries to almost hover above the mat. Because this is going to be crucial in the side plank, that you can find this position when you're in a different setup. So when you think you have it, as you exhale and come up, you want to keep the tail tucking under, keep the ribs pulling up. So it's all about that midsection really engaging itself. Now, when you come down, my mantra is always ribs up, hips down, because I almost want the pelvis to land a split second before the rib cage comes down. 2 more times. Exhale, scoop the tail under, pull the ribs up, come up onto the elbows and knees. Check in that you're not here with your bum pushed back. If it's easy, that's probably what you're doing. And then lower yourself to the floor by holding on to the tuck and holding on to the rib cage. 1 more time. Exhale as you pull up, and then use that exhale to lower back and down. Now, when you come down, I want you to turn to lie onto one side with the legs out to straight. Now, what you do with your bottom arm is up to you. Some people find it really comfortable to thread it through and pillow the head up. I didn't bring the pillow with me today, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to extend the arm to straight and let my head rest on it, but either option would be fine. What you do want to do is use the back edge of your mat as a straight line. Get your head, your bum, your heels on that straight line. Now take your spare arm, bend the elbow, put it in your waist. Close your arm down until your fingers reach the floor and then walk the fingers forward. Roll this top side of your pelvis forward until you can get the hand flat down and a feeling that your hand can really lock into the floor. If you have this right, it will be hard for you to hunch your shoulder to your ear right now. So if it can easily come up, the hand is too high. You want to get it down because this is going to be all about getting your back to really fire up. From here, bring your top leg to hip height. Check that for me. This would be too high. This would be too low. Once you're at hip height, I want you to push out into the top heel and pay attention to this underneath waistline lying on the floor. Can you feel it lifting? Relax the leg and bring it down. Bring the leg up and notice how your waistline could be just passively lying into the floor. That's not what we want. Push out into the heel so this side of your pelvis moves away from your rib cage. We're looking for the muscles in this underneath side of your waist to engage, not the rib cage, and let the leg come down. Okay, 1 more time, because this is another one of those crucial pieces that makes the difference between you using your abdominals and not. So the leg comes up, pushes away to pull the pelvis away from the rib cage and to allow the underneath of your waistline to lift, but to keep your rib cage on the floor. Now, here's the tricky part. When this bottom leg lifts and lowers, the underneath side of your waistline should stay engaged. So it would mean that I could slip 2 fingers between the muscles and the floor. We don't care about any soft padding on top. However, I shouldn't be able to slip fingers between the ribs and the floor. So that top leg stays really active as the bottom leg comes up and down. So on the top leg, push into the heel, make sure your foot is really flexed. It's not important whether the bottom leg gets up high. Don't go looking for a foot-to-foot connection. Last one. Okay, both legs come down. Now, I want you to prop up onto your elbow. And in side plank, what's important is that your shoulder is over your elbow. So this would be too far away. This would be too far in. See if you can really create a vertical line. Now, do you remember how on all fours I had you squeeze the shoulder blades together and pull them apart? You want the same thing here, because if your shoulder blades like to live squeezed in, this is how you're going to be lying on the floor. So draw the shoulder blades away from each other and then draw the chin to the chest. Keep it, but press the head back. We want the spine one long vertical line. Now you're going to bend your knees and swing the legs back. I'm going to pull forward on my mat a little bit because I don't have much space here. So the knees make a straight line to the hips and the feet are back behind you. Okay, it's not a 45-degree angle. We're really looking for one straight line. Now in side lying, can you find sad dog, happy dog? Because this is a whole different kettle of fish lying on your side now. Now we have much smaller bases of support that we're going to be working on. So you're trying to keep your shoulder blades pulled broad. And I want your pelvis to find sad dog mode. Pubic bone coming forward, tailbone tucking between the legs. Take your spare arm, wrap it around your rib cage. Now already start to pull your ribs away from the floor like we did at the beginning of the class when you were kneeling. As you exhale, pick the side of your hip up off the floor and inhale to release it down. So as you exhale, side of the hip comes off the floor, inhale, release it down. Now, here are the things that make this a core exercise and not a pain in the neck and the shoulders. So as you come up, the ribs should disappear because the tail is tucking under. There's no pushing the ribs forward and arching into your back, and then you come down. So as you come up, there's no bend in the hip joint. This is ironed out and release down. This is the last one, I promise. The last thing that I often see is the head dropping forward. So make sure you press it back and let it release. Good job, guys. All right, let's go to the other side. So we're going to start out one long line first. See if we can really pull the musculature out for you first. So feet stack on top of each other, pushing out into your heels. Take your elbow into your waist, close the hand down, and then walk the fingers forward. Now roll that top hip forward until your hand can really push down into the floor. Check that it's difficult to hunch the shoulder up. If it isn't difficult, the hand is too high up, bring it down. Bring that top leg to hip height, and now push out into the heel and let it release and come down. So as a reminder, when you push in the heel, we're looking for a small hollow in the underside of your waist muscles. We're not looking for the leg to push out so far that the ribs come up off the floor. So this time, when you think you have it, keep the top leg fixed there. Check you have weight in that top hand. Bottom leg lifts and lowers. The moment that bottom leg comes up is the moment you want to notice whether you're collapsing down into your waist. Is that top leg giving up the effort of reaching away? You want to imagine there's a big heavy piece of furniture on the sole of that foot and you're pushing that away every time that bottom leg lifts. If it doesn't feel like work, something somewhere is switching off. Last one. And let it all release. Okay, prop up onto your elbow. Swing your legs back. So again, remember we're looking for this straight line from knee to hip to shoulder. You want to make sure your elbow is directly under your shoulder. And on this side, play with the tuck and tilt again. So the tilt is not what we want, where you're in the arch of the back and the ribs pushing forward. We really want this tuck, and then we want to connect it to the length on the side of the body. So as you tuck the tail, you already begin to think of the ribs lifting up, so that from pelvis to ribs is long. Okay, when you're good to go, as you exhale, come up. Now see if you can deepen into the tuck, iron out the hip crease, keep the ribs really pulled back and in, and release down. 2 more times. Well, it's probably going to be more than 2, I won't lie. So exhale as you come up, tuck the tail, ribs pull up, and bring it down. Now start to think about your head position. So as you come up, are you pushing your head forward? Pull it back. And you might be going faster or slower than me, it's fine. But the goal would be that if you had a wall in front of you, everything would be touching the wall, not that there's some parts that would be going back away from you. Last one here. And let yourself come down. Good job. All right. Then from here, I want you to come to lie on your back. We'll just take a quick stretch out before we finish with one last exercise. So legs go out to straight while I do a wardrobe adjustment. So both legs are going to walk to the bottom right hand corner of your mat. Cross your left leg on top of your right leg. Bring both arms to the ceiling, take hold of your left wrist, and bring your arms overhead. Now pause for a moment. When you took your arms overhead, did you just push your ribs up to the ceiling and arch your back? If you did and you can't comfortably fix that, bring the arms a little more toward the ceiling. Now pick up head, neck, chest, and go to the top right-hand corner of your mat. And this movement is called Crescent Moon. So you're trying to make this long semicircle. As you inhale, stretch your left leg and pull out your left arm. Exhale and keep relaxing your rib cage back and down. 2 more times. On your inhale, you pull gently on the arm, you reach out through the leg. The exhale to let it release. 1 more time. And let it release. Okay, now change, walk over. So bottom left-hand corner. Cross right leg over left. Take hold of your right wrist and move everything to the top left-hand corner of your mat. As you inhale, lengthen that right arm by tugging gently on it. Reach out through your right foot. Exhale, soften the rib cage. 2 more times. And last one. All right, let that release. And then the last thing we're going to do today is flip over onto your front. And you're going to place one hand on top of the other. Let's go right hand and let your forehead rest down onto that. Now, we've already discussed lying on your front, that instead of you collapsing into your lower back, you really want to make sure that whole support network is in place. So find the tailbone, draw it down and under, anchor into the pubic bone, and start that sense of contracting your stomach muscles so the rib bones are resting really lightly on the floor. Inhale as you bring your head away from your hands. Can you keep your neck long and can you keep your shoulder blades pulled out wide? Exhale to return. So as you inhale and come up, the eyes stay down, the neck stays long. At your highest point though, I don't want you to collapse into your lower back. So are you still drawing the tailbone down toward the heels? Are you lightening up the rib cage? And then exhale to release. And then adding on to this, inhale and carry your right arm up with you. Similar to when we did a twist on all fours. Now anchor the pubic bone down, lighten up on the ribs and release down. Change the hand that's on top. Inhale up with that left arm, press the right one into the floor. Deepen the tailbone towards the heels, ribs pick up and come on down. Change, right hand on top of left hand. Inhale up, shoulder blades broad, pelvis anchored, ribs light, and come on down. Again, inhale, left arm up, shoulder blades wide, ribs light, pubic bone heavy, and come on down. And then bring your hands under your shoulders, push yourself up and back, and then give yourself a pat on the back. Job well done. We're nailing this right now. Hi, I really hope you enjoyed working out with me. I'd love to send you my free 30-minute Restore Your Whole Body Pilates program. All you need to do to receive that is just click the link below in the description or pinned into the top of the comments. That will take you straight through to a page where as soon as you enter your email address, you'll be given direct access to the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That's the fastest way to get a notification every time I post a new video here. And lastly, I love to make content, but it's really helpful to me if you can leave a comment telling me what you enjoyed about this video and what other content you would like me to create. Anything that you particularly want to work on, whether it's shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, just leave me a comment. I'll check it out and I'll see what I can do. Thank you.